boxing talk. So I'm on my way to the gym, get my early morning run in, just getting in shape. So this particular video, go talk about a variety of different things. Go talk about Floyd possibly, basically Floyd coming up with the bright idea to basically have a exhibition match on the same night as Devin Haney and then Charlo, and just what a disgrace he is and how bad he sold himself out and sold boxing out and sold, sold us out. I was listening to Cameron, and Cameron was spot on. And like I said before, Jamel, he really have no idea what he done. And then there's really issues about how much he really made for this fight. At the end of the day, you're gonna have people that's going to defend and cape for the PBC no matter what. And that's gonna come on here and try to tell you, oh, why you're attacking the PBC and attacking Al Haymon because Al Haymon, a black man. Listen, I'm gonna say this once again: Al Haymon don't give a damn about the black community or black people. He been throwing his black boxers under the bus and sacrificing them, just like he sacrificed Jamel this past Saturday. Let him basically sell a W to Canelo, and that's basically what happened. And Oscar said something that was very interesting that I'm gonna talk about later on, where he was saying that boxing is in deep trouble and that all these companies is gonna have to get together and make the big fights. Well, a lot of people been hollering that for years, kicking and screaming. But you got people and the fighters that's refusing to fight certain people. And my thing is with Canelo, is Canelo really going to fight David Benavidez? He said this before about F it and I'll fight David Benavidez, but it's just something that Canelo see in David Benavidez that he think is going to give him problems. I was on World Combat Sports channel a couple of days ago, and I was trying to explain why I think David Benavidez is going to give Canelo fits. And then, of course, I guess the dude was some kind of Canelo fan talking about that David Benavidez is going to sleep. And then that's another issue that I'm going to talk about in solo videos. Why is it that Canelo can't knock anybody out? Now, before people come on here talking about Charlo was running and all this kind of stuff, well, at the end of the day, whether he was running according to you guys, he still got hit. So what about the 100 and something plus punch that Canelo landed that gave him a chance to put Charlo away? Because that running thing, I think to a certain degree, is overblown, because he had Charlo pinned up against the ropes a lot of times, and he just couldn't get him up out of there. So what about the previous times that Canelo has fought and not been able to get people up out of there? It just looked like Canelo's power might be a little overrated. It's kind of funny because I hear people always make these videos about Devin Haney and saying he feather-fisted and all this kind of stuff, but then, Canelo ain't been able to get him up out of there. He haven't had a knockout in 4 fights. Wasn't able to stop Charlo. Wasn't able to stop John Ryder. Wasn't able to stop Triple G. Wasn't able to stop Bibble. Well, we all know what Bibble did to him. He didn't drop Triple G. He didn't drop Bibble. So even out of his last 4 fights, he's only dropped 2 fighters. So the question is starting to remain and be asked about Canelo. Is something going on with Canelo? And then Canelo, after that fight, because see, I really pay attention to things, because on All Access and you looked at previous interviews going into going into the fight, Canelo was doing interviews talking like, well, his best days was behind him in boxing and he didn't know how long he was going to do it and he feel great and all this kind of stuff. So I'm also thinking, well, damn, was Charlo a form of a confidence booster? Because the fight looked like a sparring session. And then to see Jamel be like the happiest dude to lose the fight, that was just telling. And it says a lot about him, and it says a lot about what I've been trying to implicate and basically solidify and validate about the PBC and the PBC roster about those fighters. I think to a certain degree, they may be overblown. Because at the end of the day, do we really know how good they are or could be based off the fact that they only fight primarily PBC fighters? And now due to the fact that it's almost like, since they don't like to make quote unquote what you would call outside promotional fights, now here you have this thing now where you have this wall, or you have like Group A, Group B, Group C, which it shouldn't even be like this. You can consider top rank Group A, PBC, Group B, Golden Boy, Group C, Matchroom, Group D. And it's like, will Group D fight fighters from Group A, and A fight C, D fight B, C fight D. So, and that's the problem. It's too much separation. And then, like I said, the worst thing they could have did is when they came up with that ridiculous, mythical other side of the street. I'll fight for Showtime and Fox. Well, now you not fighting for Showtime and Fox, because you definitely not fighting for Showtime. And then Fox is already gone, and Showtime is ready to go strictly pay-per-view depending on the matches. Now, I'm dying to see what the pay-per-view numbers is for this fight, because a lot of people, including Eddie Hearn, not what Eddie Hearn says the gospel, but he said a lot of things that I can relate to. There wasn't any buzz really for this fight. And I said that, and then of course the Canelo fans got upset and started like popping off at the mouth, which I responded back, because one thing about this channel, I will return fire if you disrespect me. You take a shot at me, I'm gonna let off rounds. I'm gonna let off a whole drum or a whole magazine. And that's just the way it is. But you just see a lot of things wrong. But this has been one of the serious problems that we've had and been seeing in boxing, getting certain matches made. And you just saw the debacle with Frank Martin and Shakur Stevenson. Debacle. It was a debacle. And you had people, and then like I said, the media people, they play a role in it too. Because at the end of the day, you have some of these media people who like who they like, or inclined with who they like, or got access to certain people, and they're not being helpful at all neither. If they cool with what person who giving them access or exclusive access, for the most part, they're gonna ride with them, and then they're gonna attack the other person no matter what, and further keep this confusion going. You've seen this so many times. So sometimes the media don't help either. But as far as Jamel go, I just think he blew a golden opportunity to basically have an opportunity to get more fights. If he had went in there and went out on his shield, like basically said, you know what, I don't care if I get knocked out, I'm gonna go out with a bang, I'm gonna give the fans the best possible fight I could give them, and he refused to do that. And as far as this culture go that he talking about, which I'm trying to figure out what culture is he talking about, because he tried to distance himself from the black culture, but then when he saw that nobody was supporting him going into this fight, then all of a sudden, and then based off the way he fought, that was BS too. He don't give a damn about the culture, because if he cared about the culture, he would have tried to fight. Once again, say what you want to say about Deontay Wilder, but that last fight with Tyson Fury, he gave it his all. You know, he gave it his all. He gave 100%. You know, in that third fight with Tyson Fury, and he went out on his shield, because he didn't have to take a third fight with Tyson Fury. He could have just went on about his business, but he said, hey, I didn't like the way it ended. I wanted another opportunity to go out the way I wanted to go out. And this is why people still want to see Deontay Wilder fight. This is why people mess with Deontay Wilder. This is why Deontay Wilder's fan base, you know, this is why his fan base got even larger, because people respected what he did. And like I said, if Charlo went in there and just said, you know what, I'm going for broke, I don't care what happens. If I get stopped, I get stopped. If I get the hell beat out of me, then so be it. But based off the fact that he was playing it safe, he just stood there and allowed himself to be basically a heavy bag for Canelo. Nobody don't respect him. And now the question is, okay, how do you sell Jamel? You can't put him back in the ring based off that performance. And now that people saw how he fought, basically he killed two birds with one stone, because now nobody is going to have any interest in seeing him, Canelo, that is, fight the other Charlo. Which, once again, I said, well, who asked for this fight? And this is the thing. People get mad when you say, hey, nobody asked for this fight. Nobody wanted to see this fight. And then why did Canelo even take a fight like this? Why did he even take a fight like this? Nobody asked for this damn fight. And then people saying, well, it was supposed to go to Big Charlo and he passed it to his brother. Don't matter. Jamel shouldn't have took the fight. Or Al could have found somebody else. Al don't have no problem finding other people for other fighters to fight if he feel like certain fights are a danger or a threat to his fighters. Or they may just continue to sit on the shelf. Once again, it's October. And why ain't nobody answering this question? Last time I checked, last time I heard, Deontay Wilder is healthy. But Deontay Wilder ain't been in the ring in pretty much a year. Been out of the ring for a year. And we know he ain't got no fight. And we know he ain't got no fight coming up within the next 2 weeks. So it's going to be over a year since Deontay Wilder been in the ring. And this is one of the problems and the issues that I have with the PBC because they continue to do this stuff. Why hasn't Deontay Wilder been in the ring? I know people gonna say, well, you know, Andy Ruiz priced himself out. Well, find somebody else. Find somebody else. I'm pretty sure Deontay Wilder would have took a tune-up fight against somebody like Charles Martin, and he would have knocked Charles Martin out. He could have just took a stay busy fight. He could have found Al Heyman, that is, found somebody for Deontay Wilder to fight to stay busy. But no, Deontay Wilder is sitting up at home, like a lot of these other fighters are. And then people don't want to have real conversation like, why is this continuing to happen with the PBC? Because for the most part, they started to wear out their welcome. They wore out their welcome with a lot of these networks. Wore out their welcome with Showtime. That's why Showtime is ready to cut boxing. Now they gonna randomly do they sports shows randomly with the NBA and all that kind of stuff inside the NFL, but that's gonna be random. And if they had made the boxing matches that we were clamoring for, and if you had got these fighters to fight the dudes that we wanted them to fight, just out of curiosity, boxing was still, would probably have the love affair that it had with purists, and then purists could basically introduce it to, the casuals. But when you don't get matches that you want to see, and you get basically the same type of product, well, eventually people gonna lose interest in it, and they gonna have other interests in other things. And then Floyd didn't help when they was asking him about Tank fighting other people. Floyd sits up there and says, hey, we're not gonna make another promotional company great. We have other fighters for Tank to fight. And this is why Tank sometimes may not get the praise that he think he should get, because you just look at the guys Tank is fighting. We want to see Tank. Yeah, Tank say he'll fight Devin Haney, he'll fight Shakur Stevenson and those type of dudes, but the question is when. And everybody needs to try to participate. And I do agree with Oscar on that point. Everybody needs to try to find a way to make certain fights happen. I think now we can make a Tank versus Lomachenko. I think due to the fact you have Tank's drawing power and his popularity, and then Lomachenko is very popular among, what you would call boxing purists. You could sell that fight based off the notion that, well, there's still people that have the belief that Lomachenko beat Devin Haney and he didn't. And they have the belief that Lomachenko could beat Tank, and that some people believe that Tank has been ducking Lomachenko, so you can still sell that fight. Even though I think Tank would, now that's a fight that I believe that the PBC fighter will come out on top. I believe that Tank would wash, I think at this point, I think Tank would wash Lomachenko probably inside 6 rounds. Because eventually Tank is going to catch Lomachenko. He's gonna eventually catch Lomachenko with something. He may trick Lomachenko, and Lomachenko may walk into something, and that's gonna be it. Because I'm gonna tell you something. Had Tank been fighting Lomachenko instead of Devin Haney, and this is no knock on Devin Haney, we all know that Tank is the bigger puncher. But if Lomachenko got hit with some of the shots that Tank would be able to land versus Devin, he would have got stopped. But at the end of the day, boxing come down to placing your punches, picking your and picking your moments. Because boxing is also about momentum and moments. And we all saw Charlo didn't seize his moment. We all saw that Charlo came in there to be like basically a rug for for Canelo, in a dirty rug at that. And this is why I'm saying from this day forward, and I don't care if somebody send it to Charlo, don't ever sit up there and talk all that tough guy talk ever again. We don't believe you. Like I said, if you at least put in a valid effort, there would have been interest in watching you fight Terrence Crawford. Now, as Terrence Crawford say, no, Terrence Crawford, the reason why he said that, and then if anybody tries to play this, oh, Terrence Crawford is ducking Jermell Charlo, just stop it. Because a lot of y'all got next to no credibility anyway. No, what it was, Terrence Crawford saw millions of dollars go down the drain to basically try to sell a fight, because ain't nobody gonna pay or probably come to that fight. Because in all likelihood, if this fight was to happen, Terrence Crawford would be an overwhelming favorite. And then Jermell already has trouble as it is selling tickets. And then based off this performance and how disgusted people is with him, because you know, Cameron said that he sold, you know, Cameron said you sold us out. So is it something to that? Which I'll talk about that in another video, about the whole sellout and having, you know, racial pride when it comes to boxing. Something that a lot of these black fighters are lacking. But I am going to talk about this. I've talked about this before in the past, and I feel like it may be time to revisit this. But let me move on to another subject. And speaking of Floyd Mayweather is at it again. Now, according to the homie Vegas Mark, he is trying to figure out what is Floyd Mayweather talking about, because according to the homie Vegas Mark, all the big venues in Las Vegas are booked on this night. But for some reason, Floyd came up with the idea that, hey, maybe I'll have another exhibition match. Oh, I'm going to have it December the 9th. Now, it was already announced as early as last week, and we all know that this was announced. They got ads running for this, commercials already promoting this fight. We all know that Devin Haney is going to take on Regis Prograis, which, by the way, tickets go on sale tomorrow. Tickets go on sale tomorrow, 10 a.m., so be ready. And then on Thursday, tickets go on sale for Shakur Stevenson and his upcoming fight. So I'll make a video talking about that. Oh, okay, cool. Oh, he's here. Well, maybe they gonna have it in the new venue, the Spear. Maybe that's it. But the thing is, this has grown tired with Floyd Mayweather. And at the end of the day, what it is, Floyd could be bluffing. He could be just putting that out there to get people talking about him. And then Floyd is supposed to have been a mentor to Devin Haney, but yet here he is saying that he wants to put together an exhibition match, a pay-per-view exhibition match at that, which is going to take away some attention from Devin Haney. And then, not to mention, Top Rank is going to, in all likely, have a card, you know, on the East Coast that's probably going to feature Teofimo Lopez. Now, I know Top Rank has the Michelob Ultra Arena booked for February 2024. But I am anxious to see what's gonna go down December the 9th in New York. Now, unfortunately, I can't be at two places at one time. You know, Bobby Womack. I'm gonna be in San Francisco, you know, gonna be in San Francisco. I'm gonna be at the Devin Haney fight because at the end of the day, it makes more sense for me to work in my own area versus jumping on a plane. But I am gonna, I am gonna talk to Top Rank. I'm gonna see, can I send my correspondent there? Because at the end of the day, I need to have somebody covering whatever's gonna be going on in New York City. And I think the 9th is Heisman weekend. But then to see Floyd basically going to have an exhibition match in Las Vegas, which ain't nobody gonna come to, because I don't know if you guys know, Floyd Mayweather's exhibition matches have been flopping. They've been falling hard. I think a lot of times it get to the point to where when you see a legend like Floyd Mayweather, you just want to see him just be a legend. You just want to see him come to fights, maybe do interviews, and then just greet the people. But then, Floyd can't stand to see anybody get any shine but him. He does this kind of stuff, and he just goes about this the wrong way. And the thing is, with Floyd Mayweather, he have a lot of yes men around him who won't give him the real and say, hey man, don't do this. But then he acts as if he's a mentor to Devin Haney, but yet you trying to have an event on the same weekend and the same night in which Devin is having something. Now, if you want to do it on a Sunday, then by all means, but man, you want to do it on Saturday? And then that's just Floyd's ego. Floyd ain't who he was like 6, 7, 8 years ago, where basically everything stopped for him now. He has to understand that time has moved on and people have moved on. Yeah, you were once that guy. When you fought, everybody would stop what they was doing, and basically that Saturday revolved around you, and nobody didn't really want to book any matches the weekend you were fighting, because you were at one time the biggest draw in boxing. But you have to let it go now. You have to let it go. Eventually Michael Jordan realized, hey, I can't keep doing this. Brett Favre, he retired 4 times. He finally got to the point to where, okay, I can't keep doing this. Now Tyson Fury has retired within the last year at least 4 times, and he keeps surfacing, and I can't blame him, because basically he has $100 million on the line allegedly for his next fight. But hopefully when this is all said and done with him, that he goes away finally. And what I'm saying about the guys, and even Sugar Ray, it was like, okay, I can't do this anymore. I cannot continue to fight. Can't continue to fight anymore. I gotta stop. All good things come to an end. And I just think this is what Floyd's problem is. He have a hard time letting it go. But then at the same time, he have people around him that won't tell him the truth and say, hey, you got to move on from this. And I mean, for him to just basically come out of nowhere and say, oh, I may have an event December the 9th. I hope Floyd don't go through. I really hope Floyd don't go through with this. I hope he just, I hope this is just one of his tricks to get people talking about him, or to get him in the news, because like I said, that would be the weakest move ever if he just have an event on the same night. It's already gonna be hard to try to spread media around those two, and they have people who they expect to see. I don't mess with the PBC. The PBC don't mess with me. The PBC didn't burn me way too many times. Them and they empty promises, and them and they excuses, oh well, you need a bigger following, you need more people watching you, and then you look around and then you see some dude or some chick that got a channel and she got 300 subscribers, but yet she got in. So when you keep getting burnt, you say, all right, forget it. And the thing is, and this is another thing I don't like about the PBC, they fighters take stuff too personal. They have to understand that you ain't gonna always have something polite to say about them on a regular basis. That isn't how it works. You're gonna always have to critique and say something and criticize them, and then when you say something they don't like, then all of a sudden they call in certain people, oh man, don't let him in, because he be saying this, he be saying that about me, so that happens a lot. But the thing is, I don't go through that with Top Rank because I didn't rip their fighters. Like I said before, I didn't rip Lomachenko to shreds, and yet I still get to cover their fights. I didn't rip some of their fighters to shreds. But they don't take it personal like those dudes with the PBC. And they don't go around threatening people and all that stuff with Charlo. So like I said, my issue with Charlo, to a certain degree, it is kind of personal because I just saw the stuff he do. And like I said, he played himself. All of a sudden, he want to be nice. He want to be humble to Canelo and all this kind of stuff. But for years, you seen him talking like he just some straight up G. Talking like he old dog, all the old dog talk, all the, you know what I'm saying, gangster talk, but it was really more wankster talk. Going on $1 million worth of game, talking about, oh yeah, I heard y'all was talking shit about me and all this kind of stuff. Like he really was finna pull up. Well, like I said before, you had a chance to pull up, you had a chance to show how tough he was against Canelo, and like I said before, you laid down. You laid down like a dirty carpet that had been getting stepped on from people coming into a party. And it's embarrassing. And like I said, for the people that's sitting up here trying to shame people from criticizing Charlo and all this kind of stuff, and then he had the audacity to say he did it for the culture, or he do it for the culture. And I'm still trying to figure out what damn culture you talking about. What damn culture? Because you definitely didn't do it for the black culture. Just a disgraceful and shameful performance. I was just shaking my head and then thinking to myself that Al Heyman, the PBC, Canelo, and Jermell Charlo pulled off a heist where they cheated people out of their money for a WWE-like matchup, for a sparring session. And then when you call this out, you got these people coming out of nowhere saying they don't understand why people are so angry with Jermell. Do you got a couple of hours? Jermell is worse than his brother, though. At the end of that, is trying to, basically redeem himself, turn over a new leaf, whatever the case may be. But then again, based off the fact that he got the taste slapped out of his mouth, which, by the way, I'm not going to go in on Caleb Plant, because if Caleb Plant's version of the story is what happened, he deserved to get slapped, and basically he put Caleb Plant in a position to where he had to defend himself. You can't disrespect nobody in front of their wife. Can't do it. And that's just on the real. You just can't do it. You just can't do it. You can't disrespect nobody in front of their wife. Because, I mean, I wouldn't allow it. Because I can tell you right now, if Caleb Plant wouldn't have did nothing, I can tell you right now, you have to understand something. When you married, and depending on what type of woman you dealing with, if she see you ain't got no respect for yourself, then she gonna start disrespecting you. And she gonna disrespect you 3 times worse than any man can disrespect you. So basically he was put in a position where he was like, man, I gotta do something. So I gotta, you know what I'm saying? I gotta do what I gotta do. But the fact of the matter is that Jamal didn't do nothing. He just sat up there and everybody saw it. Even if he was the dude that started it, at least if he would have tried to act like he wanted to fight. But then he just sat up there, waited till Caleb Plant left, and just walked out of there. I was like, damn. Embarrassing. But I hope Jamal, you know, I hope he's ready. It appears that it was announced that he's going to be fighting Jose Benavidez. Jose Benavidez is jumping up to 160, if I'm not mistaken, to fight Jamal Charlo. Man. And once again, this is Jose Benavidez's first fight in a while. They think almost a year. I think it's been a year since he fought Danny Garcia, in which Danny Garcia was victorious. So he's moving up to 160. I kind of understand why Benavidez is probably gonna campaign at 160, because basically he had to gain a lot of weight, you know, to do Creed 3. And I guess he was like, well, I'm not going to put myself in the same position in what happened to Roy Jones Jr. Unfortunately, when Roy Jones Jr. gained that weight to fight Ruiz, and then he tried to go back down, that like really hurt Roy. And then Antonio Tarver, same thing with Antonio Tarver. Once Antonio Tarver put on that weight to do Rocky 5, I guess that was Rocky 5 at the time, you know, he had to gain all this weight to fight at heavyweight, and then, well, basically he couldn't get back down. So basically he had to campaign at a certain weight class. I think he couldn't fight at middleweight or super middleweight, so basically he had to fight basically light heavyweight and up, and then he eventually moved up to heavyweight. And that's what people don't understand. And then I just think Jermell Charlo, based off the fact, and it's something else that I want to bring up that I noticed. By Jermell Charlo standards and what people was used to seeing, he didn't even look like he was in the best shape for that fight. Because usually he takes care of himself, you know, he's usually, you know, ripped up for these fights. And then you could just see he was a little pudgy. You know, you can see he was a little, he was a little pudgy. And got a good look. I already knew what was going to happen. I said, he don't even look like he in shape for this fight. And then he said he had a hard time, you know what I'm saying, having properly eating and prepared for this fight. But then at the same time, you still have to put this on Canelo as well, because you still have to ask yourself, why would Canelo take a fight like this when there were plenty of people for him to fight? You chose to make a dude go up 2 weight classes. When his brother wasn't available, you should have been like, allegedly. But Jermell been saying that he always was the guy that was gonna fight Canelo. So my thing is, if you was the guy that was gonna always be fighting Canelo. Once again, why were you the guy? Why did Canelo even sign the contract to have a fight like this when there were plenty of people available? And the more and more I see how Canelo conducts himself when it comes to fighting David Benavidez, he just more and more asks if he's hesitant to get in the ring with him. Now, he could go in there and mollywop David Benavidez. But to me, it just seemed like after the fight, he seemed sure of himself. Because, like I said, leading up to the fight, he was kind of hinting that he was looking at retirement. Saying he don't know how long he want to do this and all this kind of stuff. And then he say, after the fact that, you know, he went Charlo so easily. But then again, if you got a dude that put up zero resistance, I guess that would boost your confidence too. If I fought a guy that basically didn't do anything, that periodically tried to throw punches, I guess I'd be confident too. But my thoughts in the next two fights is really gonna be a Jamal Charlo fight is out the door because nobody don't want to see that. I know they could have sold it as revenge. Let's just say if, you know, the brother fought his ass off and he ended up getting caught with a shot and ended up getting stopped, and you can sell it as, I'm gonna avenge my brother, what you did to my brother. And then due to the fact that the Charlos are not getting along, allegedly, well, there's no real storyline to that. Like I said, a lot of things went bad that past Saturday, because now people are looking at also the trainer. Okay, now people, and I know people are cool with Derrick James, but at the end of the day, this, you know, I gotta say this, you know, this is my outlet. I have to say this. You know, people are even looking at Derrick James now saying, man, this dude is coming across overrated. I mean, he was trying to tell Jamel what to do, and Jamel didn't have no interest. At the end of the day, even when a fighter loses, they still give some of the blame, or a lot of the blame, or half the blame, to the trainer. And now this is two pay-per-view matches that Derrick James has failed and failed miserably on. And like I said, I don't have nothing against Derrick James. I don't even know Derrick James, but at the end of the day, I'm going to tell my truth and what I see. I'm supposed to have a fight coming up in December, and Derrick James is going to be in Ryan Garcia's corner. Well, hopefully Ryan Garcia looks good, you know, his first fight under the tutelage of Derrick James. Hope so. Really hope so. Because if not, and you see another lackluster performance, then, you know, then people really gonna start scratching their head and asking questions about Derrick James, whether it's fair or not. That's just truthful. Because if Terrence Crawford had lost to Errol Spence, they would have been asking, well, what did or what didn't Bo Mack do to cause Terrence Crawford to lose the fight? That just comes with the territory. It doesn't matter how much you like somebody or how much access you. It's just basically the bottom line, and people gonna start asking the questions. They're gonna be like, but what? Like, what happened? Because, I mean, that's back-to-back lackluster pay-per-view, big-time TV performances. I guess you could say it was big-time because, well, The Crawford Spence fight was big time, but this Canelo fight, nobody cared for it. Nobody cared about this fight. The only people that was really checking for this fight was, in all likelihood, sort of like die-hard boxing enthusiasts, and maybe a casual that's familiar with Canelo, a couple of casuals. Now, I know for a fact they had a hard time selling tickets for this fight towards the end. So I'm dying to see what the pay-per-view number is going to be. And I highly doubt that this fight is going to do anywhere remotely close to 1 million pay-per-view buys. Because it didn't have a buzz. Didn't have a buzz whatsoever. But anyway, you guys, appreciate you being here. About to go inside. I'll have more later on. Out.